Alright, how, welcome back to another video of Sketchy Contract. It is however, slightly different video, because I recently saw in the Discord that, I guess there is a gap in player knowledge. So, on one hand, there are still new players which are coming. That's the reason I was recording the starter series in the first place. So we as a community, and especially I, from my perspective, be able to just share my experience with the game and help to, get just the knowledge done. Because I think in especially these games, knowledge is something really, really important. Also something like map knowledge and how to dodge, what weapon to use, how enemies behave, how the game itself works with the codes, etc. There are so many systems by now which are easily to get once you get it explained or once you dig more into it, but if there isn't any content to it whatsoever, it really, really is difficult to get a hang of it. Shouldn't be the topic for today, however, because this video addresses the other side of the coin, where we already have some players which are very experienced in the game, doing solo quotas, high up to whatever thousands of quota, and I personally are one of the players which I really enjoyed playing since nearly the very first release of this game. So yeah, I also would count myself by now to a more experienced player. And I also noticed the tendency that with the recent patches and all these quality of life changes, which are really, really cool for newer players, the game itself become so more convenient that for someone which are used to type in the teleporting and stuff, it really is so much more convenient by now that it feels kind of easy. And with the reviving system, and it isn't that punishing anymore. We used to stack teleport gens and whatever to just get some advantage for the game. But now you don't have to do this anymore. You just usually find everything easily with an equilens or whatever. There are so many features in the game which are just for a great overall gaming experience that someone who is used to play a more difficult version of the game, it feels maybe too easy. So what else should I do if not something similar like in Phasmophobia, where they're also, especially Phasmophobia as a knowledge-based game, we used to do our own challenges and set a new difficulty for the game itself, because also in Phasmophobia there weren't anything like custom settings and anything like less evidence or harder difficulty, and we limited ourselves to do no evidence runs or something, even before it was able to do really no evidence runs in the game, because you would always find something like freezing due to the breath. So what to do now? I think it's time for also something like a sketch contract challenge. And especially the guys on the Discord, which are the opinion that the game gets too easy, just set your own challenges. Try to push your limits. I will try to push my limits, and I think I have a very quite interesting idea. So we will go over everything in this kind of rule video, what to do with this challenge. Also, there will be timestamps, this will be the intro section, and now we go to the overall idea of these challenges, or this challenge in particular. Alright, I've thought about something like Planet Lockout. I have to finalize the contract, so I can't show you it right now. But you all know that there are these different planets, and yeah, I thought about something like, what could we do that is something interesting for either solo or multiplayer, and also in co-op or against each other in a competitive way. So we have all these pets with different eggs collectible, and I am aware that something like the aquatic pet will have the same egg on 2 planets, right? We have Port Coral and Pirate Bay. So Treasure Island and Port Coral will have here the same egg. However, we have these are the 2 winter map eggs. These are the Halloween map eggs. This is Green Planet. Sector 0 is 1. We have the very first 2 planets and then the Red Planet. So there should be one more egg or one more planet than that's available. So we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right? There should be 12 planets with 12 eggs to collect. So what is the idea of this challenge? We will do Planet Lockout. So for the solo and multiplayer co-op settings, you could do something like start on a fresh file, and the main idea of this challenge is goal is to collect 1 egg from every planet. Not a pet, you could do it as well, but pet would be also interesting for asymmetric. Maybe I will go on later for competitive, but usually I would say something like you should collect 1 egg from every planet, and once you did this, you reached the end of the challenge and you completed it. However, there are 2 main twists. The first thing is, once you collected an egg from a planet, you lock out this planet. So you won't be able to farm quota or items or whatever on this planet anymore for the rest of the challenge. So, for example, if I go to the port on Sector 0 and collected 1 egg, I won't be able to go to Sector 0 ever again during this challenge. And yeah, what is the second twist about it? When you start just for the very first start of the tier 1 quota with 200, and you are only allowed to higher up your quota. When you reach 1600, you have to switch to tier 2, and when you reach the 5000 quota, you have to switch to tier 3, steadily increasing it. No quota resetting by swapping, just ongoing quota. So you will run against some timer for collecting quota. This is the main idea of this challenge, with some variations that could be done. For co-op, just play it like we set our own limits, our own rules, and we try to collect these eggs. Fine. For competitive play, you could do something like either all 12 planets. Once you logged out one planet, you log out the planet for the opponent as well. And maybe something like it. He could play the quota on it if he already is on this planet or something like this, but then you have to leave. And once you logged out a planet, nobody is able to visit it again. And you could do something like egg variance, which would be just 11. So it would be something like first to 6 eggs. Because if you have 6 different eggs, you just win. Because the other person could only collect 5 different eggs. So we also will log out these. And they only are counted by placing it here and transforming it to the state where it will keep. What else can you? So these are the very basic rules for one section. This is the main idea. What else can you do? Because I knew you're already hearing, oh, I collected every egg, I repaired everything. You could do it also with hidden furniture. It is another thing you can consider doing it with the hidden furniture or stuff. But I will focus for this on the egg and the logout system. What else? I would consider something interesting, like you aren't allowed backstocking. So these are the rules I would set myself for this, and I also tried it a little bit and find it is a very challenging thing to do. So only everything which is on your ship can be used to sell for quota. No backstocking whatsoever. And second thing, you have to sell everything which you want to sell for quota in the return part of the game. So after 3 days, you have to return and you have to sell everything, just everything, even over quota, with what you collected and what you can sell. Or you have to visit this station and transform it in something which will stay. So the second thing is you can't backstock, so higher quotas are really difficult due to you have to collect 5,000 quota or whatever in just one run. Alright, you're saying, yeah, I collect even more quota every time in just one run. Alright, go to the settings. We play with completely penalty and 200 difficulty. 200 enemy health, 200 damage. Once you wipe, your complete save file will be wiped or the challenge is lost. So no revive could be the very hardest setting. However, this is way, way too punishing for a first run or something, I guess. So you could do it like this, but I would consider at least in cooperative playing And also, I think it would be very, very punishing for lockout mechanic in competitive playing. So I would consider something like in solo play, you will be able to revive yourself. I would rather return to orbit in solo play and just wipe everything here and have the days left to still try to fix it. But the return to orbit button right now is bugged. So yeah, it will be done in the future, I guess. But right now you would have to wipe manually. So I guess reviving is just fine. And for multiplayer, you could do something like you only will be able to revive teammates you bring back to medbay, so no med gens allowed. So this makes these settings way harder and way more punishing, because you not only have 3 days to reach your quota and oversell anything, so you have credits, but you don't have any quota backstocked. And on the other hand, you have to really stay alive, which isn't that easy when you start a fresh file. So my suit level here, because I tried a little bit, is just 3, but you could do something like no suit level allowed whatsoever if you want to do it really, really difficult. I would allow suit level. The only thing I would restrict myself personally is no oxygen due to something else, which will I explain in a minute. So no oxygen is allowed for this particular rule set. However, everything is allowed to skill. You start on a very fresh playthrough with no suit level, basic settings, no items. Also, shop. I would restrict myself for something very interesting, that I'm not allowed to purchase anything in the shop beside shrink ray due to corpse farming. You could also restrict yourself by not corpse farming, but it is really a pain in the ass. So shrink ray is the only thing allowed, and gathering. Maybe also the storage boxes, but gathering, because it will be a very, very hard game without gathering and storage boxes. You could also do only storage boxes or something like this, but I think one of this should be in it for a more convenient playstyle, and everything else is forbidden. So, how to fight, will you say? You always can take a flamingo, or you could even restrict yourself to not take a flamingo. So there are also other items, like we have this, and we have this to fight with. But I think it would be much more fun to come to the last part of this challenge, which is gatherings only. You will not have any boombox healing because you won't have any items. So the new consumables, so things like this, will be your way to heal mainly. So you want to consider, also with the new chips, but they are really expensive, you want to consider to save these between quota, because you can transform them and they still are your are healing items, and these you can store on your ship. Also, try to find a weapon. You can transform these and they will still be a weapon. So I think this is a very, very funny idea these are technically even better than something like this, but there are so many things. Just think out of the box. Flamingo is way too strong now for a challenge with, with 35 damage. And yeah, if you really want to max out difficulty, leave this also out. Try to find your weapon. And I will be sure that this challenge is difficult enough to at least wipe once or twice before you get a hang of it. So yeah, there you have it. Oh, one very important thing. One setting I nearly forgot because I was in the settings earlier. I would always play with oxygen. So oxygen will decrease outdoor, even at the start. This is the reason why we have no oxygen allowed for skilling. So when you want to push the game to its limit and also push through the different tiers of the game and areas through the game for collecting these eggs, which is the main goal of this challenge, you have to collect first something like oxygen and oxygen flowers, like these little oxygen mushrooms. So you can either really have good map knowledge and don't panic when everything collapses around you and you only have 10 oxygen left and be that good of gamer to only play with the oxygen stations. They are spread, so you can do it, but usually I think it would be an interesting idea to just make more out of this collectibles, like weapons, healing, and also oxygen, as it is already in the game. So it is very, very cool. I personally would like, Halo, if you see this and you find this idea very cool, I would personally like, as you already increased these to make them more useful, with the new increased damage of the Flamingo, I would consider, like, for example, the weapons of the Wraith on the Halloween map. It would be very cool if they would scale as a player weapon or something similar, like the sword, for example. So just 45 damage. It don't have to be broken, it don't have to be reduced damage taken or what else. So these weapons should be worth for buying and purchasing them in the regular gameplay. However, something like increase it to 40 or 45 without the damage reduction, or do something for the tier 3 weapons to increase the damage from these weapons you also have to get in the first place for these challenges to something like 60 damage, or what else. Just something so for challenge runs like these, also the weapons like the skeleton hand, the baguette, what else are more valid to play. I think it would be very, very cool, very interesting. And yeah, you can do your own rule set with this. I guess I had gone through everything on my mind. I will wipe now to again show you, I just wanted to show you here these things. I will wipe now, so you will see that, or I can take these here. Most they are transformed. I'll show you, yeah, even if you wipe, you will be able to stock on different things. You can do it with wiping as well, or you can do it without wiping, saying this is a fail of the challenge, or you can play a more a more friendly version, which generally allows wiping, but it is on to you, I think. So these will stay, as you see. So you could stock something like just food items and the oxygen items if you find it too difficult with these settings and need more quotas or something like this. But yeah, I personally like the idea of just a gathering run of every time selling and new collecting. So yeah, I think this challenge is hard. It really is hard due to you don't have suit level, and you will increase the penalty to 100 as well. So you by wiping you still have to start over and over again, but you will see a baguette which you just throw away usually, or the skillet hand with complete different eyes. It will be your best friend or the weapons from these raves, you know. And I think it's just a funny experience and a completely different approach to play the game. And yeah, I think this is everything for the pitch of the idea. Again, you can do a lockout race for these planets. I would then consider to either say Port Coral or Treasure Island is the same for the egg in Lockout, or they are different planets, so you have to collect 2 of these eggs, even though there are similar regards to the pet. So you will have all these planets, and once you locked out a port, you won't be able to go there again. So you see here also, you can't go here before tier 2. This is another mechanic. You have these event planets, so overall you will have enough ports, and you try to be a little bit strategic. Like, you don't want to lock out your ports too early, so you can't collect quota anymore, but also you won't to stay too long, because quota will increase to very high amounts and very high difficulty, so you might lose all your progress so far. Yeah, I think this is the pitch video for this idea. I will try to do something like this, maybe together with a friend of mine or even the whole crew. I don't know which rules exactly we will play, but something like this with especially the Gathering Park I think is very interesting. And yeah, feel free to comment what your ideas are, or to share ideas also in the Discord, or to share your runs, your challenge runs, or anything like this in the Discord. And I hope you have fun with the game. I personally like the difficulty at the moment because, again, I said it in the intro, but also here, I think knowledge really is key. Once you know how to dodge a crawler, you know how to dodge a crawler or a mimic or what else. But if you don't know a dodge button even exists, or that the boombox heals, or what else that new players don't know because they experience the game and everything for the first time, and it is just so much. Yeah, be kind, have fun, and see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.